I don't have it in my body to feel any kind of remorse for him. You almost killed my child.
Can you walk me through yesterday around 3 when your son was coming home from school?
So I have a routine. I have an alarm that goes off around 3:05. I walk out. Typically, I'll walk over to the stop sign where the bus pulls up, but he's asked me to stop doing that because he wants to talk with his friends or whatnot. So that's fine. I can stand in the driveway and I can watch for cars and I can still see you. Not a big deal. And everything was fine. You know, I was watching him come across the bus, and the second I started seeing it move, it wasn't stopping. And about that time, you hear the horn honk from the other mom, and you hear me yelling, and the bus never comes to a complete stop. And luckily, Dash backed up, and the other two took off running. So they went two ways.
Isabel, where's your backpack?
I hope you're surviving that.
What the heck?
So walk me through the process.
And I don't know how that person could not have seen those kids. I don't have it in my body to feel any kind of remorse for them. You almost killed my child. And I have the utmost disdain right now for Denton ISD.
As this was all happening, what was going on in your head? What were you thinking?
Oh my God, my son is gonna die. He's right there next to the wheels. He could, just a series of unfortunate events, he could slip and get run over because the bus driver wasn't paying attention. Had he slipped, he'd probably be dead. Or if something like that happened, he'd probably be dead. He'd have been crushed by the wheels. And
go ahead.
As a father, being probably 20 yards away, knowing that even if I ran over to him, which I was, I still wouldn't have been able to get there in time because the bus driver never stopped. He just kept on going, making his turn. Like nothing's wrong in the world. Because I know that he heard me. Everybody hears me. And if you didn't hear me, you heard the horn honking at you. And you just kind of kept on doing what you were doing.
So that video that's taken, where's that video coming from?
It's coming from the other parent's dash cam. She sent it to me last night. It's not my video, but she gave me full permission to use it. She knows exactly what I'm doing. I've told her every step of the way what I'm doing, how I plan on hopefully blowing everything up. She's like, go for it. I've got anxiety about talking to people. I don't. I tell it how it is, and I don't hold back with anything. Cut to the chase, meat and potatoes, that's how I am. I have no problem taking this as far as it needs to go.
And there's a group of you parents that were waiting as this was happening.
Correct.
After the bus drives off, your kids are okay, what was the conversation between you all?
Honestly, I rushed him inside. And then I talked to her after the fact. We had both already called Denton Transportation. And both of us had already, she said she filed a complaint. I talked to one of the transportation administrators and told them exactly what happened. And right after it happened, my next door neighbor, he heard me yelling from in his house. And he came out and goes, what's wrong? I was like, I got it, it's fine. The bus just almost ran over our kids, that's all. And he's like, wait, what? What happened? He was kind of in shock too. And he's got kids too. They just they're not old enough to go to elementary school yet. And I put my trust in these people to get my son from point A to point B. And they broke that in the worst way that you could. I mean, I don't think I'm overstating it when I tell you my son could not be here today for me to ground or yell at or him listen to his music. He could not be here. And I find that very disturbing.
Tell me a little bit about your son.
He is a professional pain in the butt. Him and his brother have such a big age difference. But they are just alike. That child has got my attitude that it took me all the military years and everything to learn, he has. Ambo is me reincarnated this tall. And it bites me in the butt all the time. I love him to death. I mean, I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. But he's my youngest. My son is almost 18. He'll be 18 on the 9th. And that's my little boy. He knows I can be mean. Mostly to other people. Because like I said, I'm kind of no nonsense type person. But this is a whole different level of mean. I want that person who was driving that bus. I want this weighing on their conscience. I want them to know that what they did was beyond all jacked up. And if it wasn't for news and everything, I'd be using a lot worse words. I want them to feel sorry for what they did, and I want them to lose their job. You should never be able to drive for Uber or kids or anything else after that. I don't care what it costs you. I don't care if it bankrupts you. You almost killed my child and 2 others. I have no remorse for you.
What do you think might have went wrong? Do you feel like there's a reason why the bus driver might not have seen the kids or noticed that they were walking in front of the bus?
I think he just wasn't paying attention. Honestly, I think it was just a lapse in judgment. I could be very wrong, but I don't think I am. I think it was one of those, oh, yep, they made it. We're good. And just took off. What upsets me the most is not necessarily the fact that he pulled forward. It's the fact that he didn't stop. Is anybody okay? Is anybody hurt? Nothing. He just kept going. As if it's a hit and run.
And not even the honks stopped him.
Nothing. And I know they heard me. I know he heard me yelling at him. Because I've got a big voice. I know he heard the horn. You just didn't stop. I would have had so much more respect for you had you stopped doing what you were doing. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are your kids okay? I'm so sorry. Are your kids okay? Nah, I'll just keep on driving.
You read the statement from the district?
I did.
What are your thoughts?
How do I put this politely? I don't believe them. I have not been contacted by the district at all, except for an email that I got this morning from the director of transportation. I did get that email, but since then, no one has reached out to me at all whatsoever. And I know they have my email, and by now I'm sure they have my phone number. Even by email, they could have just reached out. Hey, are you available to talk? No one has reached out, nothing at all. So that statement that they gave, yeah, that's crap.
What would you like to see from the district?
You'll be lucky if I don't find a way to sue you. I hope every parent in America comes down on Denton ISD. This blows up, this goes viral. My son gets to be on Ellen or some crap like that. I want everyone that can possibly know that this could happen to your child. Your bus drivers could lose their train of thought, track of judgment, whatever you want to call it. And you may not be as lucky as I was. Your son or your daughter may be pancaked. My son wasn't. I got extremely lucky. Anything could have happened to suck him under those wheels, and I would not have been able to stop it, no matter what I would have done.
Did you feel helpless in that moment?
Oh yes, very much so. As a father, there was nothing I could do for him except yell. And I felt so bad for that.
What was his reaction?
He, because he knows me so well, he thought he did something wrong. And I had to explain to him, I said, no, buddy, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm not mad at you. Are you sure you're not mad at me? He's like, no, buddy, trust me, you did nothing wrong. bus almost hit you. He goes, yeah, I know, that was weird. It kind of rolled off his back like nothing. Like, man, to be a kid. But not me. It's not rolling off my back like nothing.
Do you feel like because he's 6, he just didn't really understand the gravity of what could happen?
Yeah, it's good to have that short memory span sometimes where he just kind of chalks it up to another day when Dad picked me up from the bus. You know, this day he almost hit me, but that's okay. And off to go play with his friends. I don't have that luxury.
Were the 2 little girls, were they kind of the same?
When I talk to their other parents, she's actually going through the same stuff that I am. She's trying to keep herself busy because she's having these moments that I'm having. But the little boy and the little girl were fine. She said that he was a little shaken up about it, but that was it.
What would you like to see from the district at this point?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I mean, you can say that, oh, we're gonna retrain every one of our drivers. We're gonna do all this, but all that stuff takes time to implement. I mean, they don't do, when you have time to do retraining. I mean, you have your drivers that are coming every morning late, whatever the case. The first day he went to school, he was an hour late getting here. And getting hold of someone at the DISD or Denton Independent School District bus barn is virtually impossible. Parents would call all of last year and get nothing but a busy signal, or it would just ring and ring and ring and ring and nothing would happen. There's no accountability there, in my opinion. I don't know what I should expect from him. I mean, I really don't know.
I wouldn't say expect, but what would you want? What would make you feel better in this moment? I mean, obviously it already happened,
Right.
but like moving forward, what could they do to make you feel better as a parent, to make you feel better about putting your kid on the bus to go to school and making sure that he gets there safely and gets back home to you safely every day?
Bus monitors maybe on all the buses. Someone that can get out with the kids and, okay, little Joey and little Johnny they're across the street. We're good now. Hop back on the bus and go about your day. Someone to be held accountable. But it's not going to happen because, oh, we don't have it in the budget, or we can't do that, or your expectations are unrealistic. I don't think so. That right there would have prevented everything that happened yesterday.
You were talking about this morning really fully processing what happened.
Yeah. That was hard for me. I don't show my emotion. I'm just not one of those real emotional people. I'm just not. But I was having breakfast. I was doing my normal errands. I was at Whataburger and not thinking about anything in the world, just eating my breakfast. And I closed my eyes and I saw my son in a casket, and it freaked me out. And I lost it. What I saw couldn't be unseen. And everything that's happened to my family in the past 2 weeks, his grandfather called me, and he was the exact same way I was. I was in the middle of talking to people on the phone. Some of my people that know me really well, like, you're upset. What's wrong? You know, you're a little emotional. Well, this isn't like you. What's going on? And when I told them, they kind of understood. But my wife was even asking me if I was okay. I was like, right now, no. Every time I blink, I see it. I can't unsee it. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm so grateful that he's not hurt. He didn't even have a bruise or a scratch. I'm extremely grateful for that. But that could not be the case the next time.
What do you want parents watching this at home to know?
Be aware of who you trust when they're driving and taking care of your children. You see it all the time. You know, bus drivers that have left kids on the bus overnight. Daycare workers that are, you know, shaking babies. You know, you don't think that someone could happen to you, especially with school shootings or anything like that. It's not going to come to my town. It happens just like that. And I want every parent to know that there was nothing that I could have done if it went bad to save him. Nothing at all.
It was a close call.
Very close. Way too close for comfort for me.
Afterwards, did you have conversations with Dash about like,
Yeah.
hey, like make sure that the bus driver sees you before you walk or
Yeah.
anything like that? Did you have to have those conversations?
I mean, kind of, but I mean, he knows. I mean, he's a friendly kid. He'll talk your ear off if you let him. So for them not to have seen him and then just do that, you know, having to tell my son, imagining having to tell my son that one of your friends got hit or something like that is hard for anybody to tell a child. Thankfully, none of that happened, but he's pretty well known. I mean, he was wearing a bright green hoodie in summer. I don't see how you could have missed him. Not from the angle that I was at. The angle that I was at, in my opinion, he would have been right there at the door. Because he came out and around, and you see him step out, and then you see him step back really quick, and the other two take off the other direction. He has a tendency to not listen sometimes, especially, you know, 6-year-olds. This is one time that he did. And I'm very thankful that he knew. He just stopped and took a step back. And I couldn't even tell you how close it was. Only he could. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know how close it was, but it was way too close for my son to be to a moving vehicle.
And then lastly, will you just walk me through what we see in the video?
So you see him get off, and you see the other two that he's talking to for just a brief second. He walks around the bus, and I'm watching the bus move. And I'm thinking, oh, he just let his foot off the brake for some reason. It's going to stop. He sped up. I mean, he hit the gas. The bus probably moved a good 10 feet before he slowed back down. And I couldn't get everybody's names out fast enough. I wasn't even thinking about it. I had a few choice words to get his attention, and even that didn't help. And even the other parent honking her horn. I mean, this is so beyond wrong, it's not even funny at this point. Like, how could you miss all of this? And then to just keep going. I hope it paints Denton ISD in a bad light. I posted it on Facebook. I've tried to get it to blow up everywhere I can. This is unacceptable. There's no apology in the world that is going to make this go away. What they did to him and those other kids is just flat out unacceptable. I'm honestly just very glad and very thankful that it didn't go as bad as it could have. That's all I care about. I care about my kids. They're okay, but this needs to be in front of as many eyes as it can be. People out there driving your kids, don't think that, oh, it's just a school bus, you know. No. And I was there for my child. I was no more than 20 yards from him. I couldn't have run fast enough to get to him. Just that short amount of distance. And that bus is however long, and I had to wait for however long that bus to pass to see if he was okay. I was looking at the ground hoping I didn't see him fall or anything like that.
And nothing about this makes you feel like it just was an honest mistake.
No.
Why not?
There's too many things. There's too many factors into it. I mean, Dash is one of the last people to get off the bus. You see him get off the bus, you see him, and then you see the bus move. There's no time. If I was driving, stop, park, let my kids get off. Even though I have mirrors, I guarantee you I would get out and I would just, okay, we're good. Look around, okay, we're good. Just that extra piece of safety. I used to drive for a living. I was responsible for over 80,000 pounds. I used to drive rigs when I was a few years ago before I retired. You're driving an 80,000 pound death machine going 65 miles an hour. You can't stop on a dime. He was standing still, accelerating. And he just happened to miss all three of those kids. That's insanely lucky. Go buy a lottery ticket lucky.